So, all right, guys, welcome.
Sweet. Let's get started. So let's first off, because I've never met Martin or David. So great to meet you guys. Just let's start off by kind of giving us a little bit of an idea of what you guys do and what kind of clients you guys work with. That would be great. And then we can dive into any questions that you guys have and really any topic, whether it's automations, lead gen, whatever that topic is. But let's get started with kind of introducing yourself. If you want to go ahead and get started, Martin, and then we'll move on to David.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Martijn in Dutch. So it's a little bit hard for you guys to say, but yeah, Martin is right.
What's the actual pronunciation though?
Martijn.
Oh, Martijn.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my wife, we have a business here in the Netherlands, and we are a marketing company for in the recreation industry.
Nice.
So we have like campsites as customers, but also the big holiday brand like I don't know if you know those, but
so like a tour, like Airbnbs type.
No, like a villa park. Only for people who can rent them, not like Airbnb, but like just not this campsite like regular.
Oh, like I got you, like RV parks.
No, like RV is like the mobile homes, right? No, it's just like real villas, like homes, and
okay.
They have been built, and people can buy those for an investment, and on the return of the investment, they get rented out.
Gotcha.
And that way, they can have a whole park, like for the holidays.
Nice.
And our job is to market them, but also like creating a magazine, but also like get the environment involved. So like start a business club and stuff like that. And we also got smaller clients. What I'm looking for now, like with Funnelbolt, is to get a little bit more like in lead generation, to get a complete package. But I'm not sure how to implement that. We're looking for a booking software as well, so we can get bookings in and like with Zapier, connect that with Funnelbolt and get the whole process automated. At the moment, we're looking for that piece of software to integrate with Funnelbolt.
Awesome. Let me ask you this: are you currently and actively generating new business for your company, like, or where are you generating traffic from?
No, we're not really generating traffic. It's more like communication. So from business to business, like the magazines, I put them out, getting articles and so not in a way like you guys are talking about with the landing page and stuff like that, and getting all those leads and Facebook ads. That's not how we are working with our clients at the moment. We're not that sales orientated at the moment.
Gotcha. So how can we help you, achieve your goal faster? What questions do you have?
Well, at the moment, it's just getting to know Funnelbolt, and I've seen a couple of videos. So it's not that I have a question right now, but I think it's really good to be here live. So I can, if I've got a question like that, something comes up, I can react at the moment straight away.
For sure.
So that's why I'm here, and just to get to know you guys live as well, because I'm gonna use it a bit more. So yeah, it's always good to have a face with who you're dealing with, and then talk to you guys as well.
Awesome, man.
So not specific questions now. I've seen a lot, and yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with it, especially if you can embed different codes like a booking software as well. That's what we wanted to do.
For sure. And with the power of Zapier, even if Funnelbolt itself doesn't have the specific, thing that you're looking to do, with Zapier, it allows you to kind of innovate and then integrate with our system to allow you to do everything else that you want to do. So
yeah.
We'll probably come out with a booking system very, very soon. I mean, I think it's done actually, Jordan, right? It's just, we haven't released it.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. So it's in the works, and it's just one of those things that it hasn't been rolled out yet. So in the meantime, Zapier is the alternative solution there that you can system there. So if you need any help, or if you come up with any questions, drop them in the chat and we'll come back to you. And we'll move on to Xavier. What's going on, my man? How are you?
Hello. I have no specific questions today.
No worries.
Hello, Jordan.
No worries.
Hello, Angel.
Great to have you. Great to have you on the live. Awesome. So We also have.
Just so you,
Say it again.
Go for it.
sorry, Angel. Just so you were going to make this this live training, so I jumped in.
Yeah, I got you. No worries, Xavier. There's always something you can learn from these. You know what I mean? Because everyone comes in here with questions. One also learns from each other based on what they're doing. And the great thing about business is that frameworks can be applied across different industries. So, something that Martin is doing, Xavier can learn from and implement in his business, and so on and so forth. So we also have someone else on this live right now. Is a dot, a period.
Hey
Not
guys.
exactly sure. What's going on?
Sorry, my name's Clay. Normally my name shows up automatically in these things, but for some reason it didn't show up down in the little corner there.
No worries.
We disabled everyone named Clay, so that's probably why.
That was my second guess. You don't want to know my first guess of why, but that was my second guess.
Nice to have you, Clay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Clay, because I don't think we've met before in any previous live. So just talk to us a little bit about what you do and how you're kind of using Funnelbolt for your business.
Yeah, well, I got Funnelbolt not so long ago, and I actually haven't had even a great opportunity to dig into it yet. I'm in the process of moving, and there's a bunch of things going on in life. But in July, I'm going to be doing a big outreach. I'm going to turn my phone off here. A big just initial outreach and some prospecting and some trial sessions. Going to open up my calendar a lot for a lot of trial sessions and do a lot of outreach. And so this tool seems like exactly for that, is setting up and streamlining that communication funnel. And so I like I said, I was like Xavier said, at the time popped up and I seen you guys are doing this and I can jump in right now. So I figured I'd just jump in and see what comes up, and then any questions that will come up based off what you guys are sharing and going through.
For sure, Clay. And talk to me a little bit about what industry you're in. So you say you're starting prospecting in July.
Yeah. Sorry, just business consulting and coaching. Generally, gotcha. Small business. There's a type of person I like to work with, and it's more about businesses that I personally resonate with, and professionals I generally resonate with. There's not really a specific niche or industry that I work with particularly.
What service do you provide? What do you do? Is it just simply consulting, or do you
strategy consulting? I can do copywriting. I can do, funnel design. I can help people with their email campaigns, whatever, more like copy and strategy, more like initial offer crafting and putting it out there so people can sell something before they go and spend a year or two building it. And
let me ask you this: is your avatar like a B2B business, like a plumber, or is it like other agency owners?
So for the last little while, I've been focused more with people with online education businesses, and they're online professionals in some sense. They're either teaching courses or they're doing coaching and training and workshops and group coaching programs or things like that of their own.
Nice. So you are niche down. You are.
That's what I've been doing for the last little while.
Okay.
But like I said, is if someone comes to me and they're like, I have an idea, or here's what I'm working on, or here's where I'm already at with my idea. We've already validated the offer. We already have some things sold. We have some customers. Like, where do I go next? I like working with people at that stage too. So again, like I said, I've been working on these few startups the last few years that have been online education focused. If I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole myself into just working with people with online education businesses, because it's just not what I'm interested in, is in the sense of cutting out any great opportunities with great projects with really inspiring entrepreneurs who aren't in let's say online education. But up until now, it's been online education and training.
For sure. So one thing to add to that, and I think this can also provide value to everybody, is, it's so easy. There's so much opportunity in general, right? And so it's so easy to say yes to everyone who comes at you and says, hey, I want to pay you money, right? And if you're in a place of business where you don't have a lot of it coming in, naturally we all say yes to it. Do we all agree? Like at the beginning stages, you're so hungry that you just say yes, yes, yes. You're the yes man. And what happens is yeah, you can make some money, but the problem is that every time you take on a client in a different vertical or a completely different, like you don't know what to expect, what's next, you actually end up taking a step back versus a step forward. Because versus you taking on a client that you've already done work for and gotten great results for and continuing to serve similar businesses, not exactly the exact same business, but a very similar business. So for example, if you service roofers, right, but you get to a point where you might maybe get a plumber that hits you up for plumbing stuff, right? If what you do is very similar, if they're asking for lead gen, right, and you're doing lead gen already for roofers, but the process is very similar as far as how you generate those prospects, I mean, you might as well take on that plumber as well, as long as, what you're doing as far as fulfillment isn't going to be 1000% different. You see what I mean? So, niches, the riches are in the niches, right? So with us, we focus with our agency, right? We focus specifically with one niche. And this niche, what we're looking at when we're picking an industry is how scalable is it? Because it takes the exact same amount of energy to fulfill someone who can pay you $50K than it does for someone who's going to pay you $500. So for us, what we have seen and found working with big clients is that the bigger the client it is, the less management you have to do and the more money you can make. And then the other thing is that you have more resources to invest into a playing team. Right? Invest into a really good salesperson, invest into a really good account manager, invest into a really good operations manager. But the problem is that if you're working with the wrong type of clients, right? The ones that, in this case, let's say startups, right? Not a lot of them have the budgets, right? To invest, 5, 10,000, 15,000, where then you take that exact same conversation and talk to, let's say, a company that has 50 employees. It's the same type of human being. I mean, the only difference is one has a bigger company than the other, right? Same type of communication is going to happen. And so why not focus on the one that's going to actually pay the bills and allow you to actually build your business? So this is something we learned over time, guys. And I'm telling you this from experience, and the other thing too, it's like, it might take a little longer to close these bigger clients, but because you have a system that's so dialed in and you're focused on one specific industry, I don't care to spend 2 to 3 weeks to close a client that's going to pay me $20,000. But I know that when they close, I'm able to fulfill like this because I've already done it. You see what I'm trying to say, guys? So as long as you're sticking to the same industry, the sales cycle of how long it takes to close doesn't matter. As long as the goal for you daily is that you're focused on connecting with new people that you can serve in your industry. New people, okay? Meaning using a combination, and this is for everyone, doesn't matter the niche, a combination of organic and paid if you have it. Start with organic and then take a percentage of your profits from organic sales and allocate that towards paid ads. That way you don't pay out of your own pocket. People start backwards. They're like, shoot, I want appointments now in a random niche that I've never worked in. So let me go out and run an ad, hopefully to get appointments. Problem is one, you've never been in the industry, so you don't know exactly what their pains and desires are, or you don't even know if your offer is good enough for the market. And so because of that, you're going to burn a lot of money because you're literally multiplying the effect of, your organic strategy, right? So if you can't get results organically, you're multiplying the effect of your results organically on ads. So you have to get a proof of concept first before moving into ads. So anybody here listening to this call, if you haven't dialed into one industry or an industry that within it is just a very knit tight group of people that you can serve, but this is a contingency that it is scalable. Okay. So I'll give you guys the niche I'm in because it's so scalable that even if you guys jumped into it right now, you wouldn't compete with us. Okay. And it's insurance. We're in insurance. That's the niche we're in. Okay. In the insurance that we're in, there's 10,000 people that qualify for insurance every single day that can become a customer for our agents. And so think about the scalability there, and that's across the entire US. Okay. And we work specifically with national buyers and companies, right? That have, licenses in 50 states. And now no longer am I talking to a little freaking dentist that can only serve a 5-foot radius around his location. You see, what the dentist can pay me in 6 months, or what he'll pay me in 6 months, is what this guy will pay me for a trial. And it took the same amount of energy. So when we're picking a niche, if you're not in a niche, and if you're right now dabbling with a lot of clients, that's perfect. You're getting experience. You're getting your feet wet. You're getting good at consultating. You're getting good at, offering something at value and getting in exchange, money for it. But now think of the big picture. Think about where you want to take your business. Think about, what do you ultimately want to do on a day-to-day? Is it being behind your computer, running ads all day, or taking sales calls all day? Or like, what is it? Figuring that thing out first, and then building your business, reverse engineering it. Because let's say you tell yourself, oh, I only want to work, 10 hours a week, right? Well, if that's the case, in order for you to close sales, get new clients, close sales, and fulfill, you're going to need a team, right? Because if you only want to work 10 hours a day or 10 hours a week, that means that you have a prospecting team, a sales team, and a fulfillment team. And you're dedicating those 10 hours a day to just manage the managers of each department. You see? But these guys that are trying to sell the laptop lifestyle and this and that, they don't have a business, and they've never had a business, because that's not true at all. You see? And so niching down will allow you to build this faster. You can't build this operation if you're dabbling into 10 different industries. The other thing is that you can't build this operation if the niche that you're in isn't scalable. And what I mean by scalable, I don't mean, the amount of this type of business that exists on this planet. That's not what I mean by scalable. I mean by scalable for you in your pocket, right? A company that has the capacity to pay the big bills. Okay. A dentist doesn't fit that criteria. A roofer doesn't really fit that criteria. A plumber really doesn't. But here, let me give you some examples. Debt consolidation, insurance, taxes. You see where I'm going with this? Do you see how these industries that I'm talking about are infinitely scalable because they're not constrained to a single service area? Meaning they'll come to you and say, hey, Xavier, I can only serve the 22457 zip code, and that's it. Good luck. And here you have a seed of a population to generate business from. It's like, this is all we're working with, right? Versus when I close a deal, they're like, yeah, we're licensed in all 50 states. So my targeting went from this little seed to the whole entire Facebook platform to my disposal. You see what I'm saying? So I've worked with the smallest of the small to the biggest of the big, okay? And I'm telling you right now, guys, from experience, the biggest of the big, yeah, the sales cycle is a bit longer because they're a little bit more picky. But once that relationship is built and you close that deal, trust me, you only need like 3 of them to pay the bills. Versus my 3 clients will make the equivalent of someone else's probably 15 clients. See what I'm saying here? So you choose what kind of business you want to run. If you want to run a business where you have to have a massive account manager team, because ideally one account manager can handle up to 10 clients. See, but because I only have 3 or 4, you see how my overhead is much lower? Because there's less micromanaging, less, so we do weekly meetings with our clients, less of that. If you have 20 clients and you're doing weekly checkups with your clients every week to make sure they're good, that's 4 times 20. You need an army of freaking people to just do those calls every week. You see what I'm saying? So thinking about it like that will allow you to really like take a step back and like think about this, like, like if it takes the same amount of energy to do this for this type of industry, why not build it for something that I know can be infinitely scaled? And like, I'll never have an issue. I'll never even have a thought to move into a different industry up until, and I'm not saying never move into a different industry, but what I'm saying is pick an industry at the beginning or at the point in your business now, if you're not in a specific niche, out of all of the ones that you're in, categorize them, which, you know, based on what I just talked to you about. And if you're not in any of them, think about the category of business that I'm talking about and maybe consider trying it. You know, because if you're skilled at doing lead gen, let's say, for example, for another niche, I'm sure you could just learn how to do it for any of these other ones that I just mentioned. It's not that hard. What funnel hackers do, right? Go find someone who's doing it, reverse engineer it, and do it yourself, right? Not that hard, right? Find someone who's doing it, learn from them, do it yourself, right? So same thing here. So now that you have a niche, you build all the systems around it, your prospecting system, right? Your sales system, because all the sales will be the exact same, just like your prospecting. And the probing qualifying questions will always all be the same, considering you're in the same niche. And then you have the fulfillment, which is all the same. So considering you're all in one niche, you know, at the point where you're completely SOP'd out, meaning you're completely systemized, right? You should be able to onboard a client within 60 minutes. Because it's like client paid, kickoff form submitted, pinged the team, the account management team, new client, start setup. And then they follow the SOPs. Done. John Doe is set up, ready to go live. Bam. You see, because there's no, so the difference between, and this was our business at the beginning. When you're taking a bunch of clients, it's like, okay, I just got $2,000 in my bank account. Now I sit back on my computer staring at it like, okay, now I got to fulfill. It's like, I'm sure we've press 1 if you've ever closed the client that you didn't have 1000% confidence that you could, you know, fulfill for, but you closed anyways because you were thirsty. Drop a 1 in the chat. And if you haven't done that, you haven't been in business for long enough. Straight up. Because when you start a business, it's difficult. I mean, it's hard. You know, you're going from getting a paycheck every week at corporate America, which we've all worked, you see at one point, you know, and then you transition to making your own paychecks. And it's like, it's not as easy as getting paid every 2 weeks and knowing what you're going to get paid every 2 weeks. And it's like, if I don't do the work or figure this out, I'm not getting paid. See? And then you start having thoughts. It's like, you know, and because you're not gaining any momentum, you start to doubt yourself. And then you start considering back to corporate America, maybe I should get a part-time job or whatever, right? Versus just focusing and dialing in on one and telling yourself, I am going to figure this out. See, because if your specialty is consulting, for example, be a good consultant on helping someone solve their problems, but in the industry that's scalable. Because you can go easily consult for a florist that sells flowers and makes 50 cents a rose. Or I can go consult a jet charter company who makes like 10 G's off of a rental. What makes more sense? Who's going to pay my $4,000 invoice without blinking? You see what I'm saying, guys? And this is something I learned years into my business, because it's like, I realized I started catching myself, like the $500 clients that I started with back at the beginning. Okay. I used to charge like $500 per client, right? To do Facebook ads and lead generation. Now with all the sophisticated stuff we're talking about today, $500 used to generate a lead, and I would send them a freaking email that said, here's your new lead. Here's your info. That was it. Funnelbolt didn't exist. None of these automations existed. None of that. $500 a month on a retainer. I got my business to 10K a month before I moved in out of corporate America with that model. So I had whatever $10,000 a month is divided by $500 is how many clients I had. That's what I know it's stupid math, but that was the amount of clients that I had. At that point, I had the confidence to move out of corporate America because I said, now I have a business. And it's costing me more time or it's costing me more money to be at my part-time job than it is to just quit, cut that paycheck out, and focus on my business. You see what I'm saying? But I realized very fast, and I started losing clients once I quit corporate America. I started losing clients because of the amount of micromanagement a $500 client per month needed. Not only that, but every single month I had to educate them why they had to pay my invoice again. I was stressed out, literally stressed out. And so I learned fast, like $500 clients compared to $10,000 clients, they're night and day, night and day. Just have the confidence in your product, find the right client and pitch the offer. They'll pay the invoice. Just do it. Just do it once, get it paid, and you'll feel like a new man. Okay. So it's just having the confidence of doing it. Ask Jordan, first time he pitched high ticket, you know, it's a scary pitch, you know, but if you know what you're worth and you know that the value that you're providing is more than what they're paying, it should be a no-brainer. You see, but people underestimate what they're worth and they charge pennies on the dollar because they're doing a price war against all the other businesses doing the same thing. And then they're left with no profit. And they're left doing all the work themselves because they don't have enough money to, one, pay their bills and bring on, let's say, an employee and even get an office or a house big enough where you can have your own home office or whatever it is. You see, I don't have overhead because my office is my home. You see, but I didn't have the income at one point to do that. And so what I did in the alternative was work out of Starbucks and coffee shops and literally live the laptop lifestyle. But I would figure it out. And I worked at, I got an office in Regis at one point, that co-working space, not WeWork, but Regis, right? And I figured it out, you know, and then there was like a $300 a month overhead for that, you know? And so evolution, and you start to learn like what you want to actually do. Like I can go close a $500 a month client, no problem right now. But do I want to do that? Nope. I'd rather not get a client today, right? What's going on, Caleb? Nice to have you, brother. I'd rather not close a client today at $500, right? And get 0 clients today and focus on closing the $6,000 client that's going to close in 3 days. You see? And now, I mean, think about how many clients you have to close at 500 to make 6K. You see what I'm saying, guys? So I'm at a point, and we're at a point, at least Funnelbolt and me and Jordan are at a point where we can choose, and this is where you guys need to get to, who you want to work with and who you don't. And every time we have a call with anybody, we basically come from a place of abundance because we're not desperate for sales. And so when we're coming from a place of abundance, meaning like, hey, look, like I'm literally on this call to try to help you hit your goals. And if I can't, I'll tell you. And if I can, I'll tell you as well. And I'll provide you the opportunity to join. But if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal, man. It's really not a big deal. You know, we have all these other things that you can dive into in the meantime. And then when, you know, you're ready, our door's wide open. But you see how we're not salesy? I'm not drilling him into the corner because I'm desperate for him to pay my invoice. You see, because I've already closed, you know, 5 to 10 deals in this last week. So abundance. There's so much abundance. And once you're at that level of thinking, the amount of sales you close is skyrockets, and the amount of clarity you have up here is next level because you no longer need to think about money anymore. Just about creating value and optimizing your current system, right? And this is considering you're in the same niche. So you're just continuously working based on the feedback that you're getting from your clients. You're reiterating your process. You're getting systems built better to make things more efficiently. You're simplifying is most important. your system to make it even more simple. Because what a real expert is someone who takes something very complicated, makes it stupid simple. That's how you know you're talking to an expert, right? So I'll stop talking here. Does anyone have any questions as far as any of the things that I mentioned, or any of that that I can help you guys with? Xavier says, are you planning on translating the platform? Jordan's actually fluent in 15 different languages, and he's actually working on that right now.
You're the first that's asked. So if you can bring us a horde of clients, we'll translate it into whatever language we need to. So, I mean, we can. I am not the guy that's going to be translating it. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that, like, you know, it's one of those things that if there's a need enough to do it, then it's considered. But like, if it's just like, you know, we got someone who's like, I want everything in Chinese. It's like Jordan said, you're the only one who's asked that. So like the amount of production and money that takes to make things in Chinese, just the translation alone costs a lot of money, right? And so that's the only thing. We have a ton of features that everyone wants, but it goes based on priority of what we feel needs to get done to provide more value, more impact that allows you to make more money, right? In that sense there. So Caleb says, so can you talk a little bit about the scope of your platform compared to some of the Intercom, Drift, or MailChimp, MailJet options? So Caleb, that's a loaded question. You just hit me with like 10 different softwares. The idea is, Caleb, for our software Funnelbolt, that it is specifically specialized in follow-up automation and getting the most production out of your pipeline, right? You mentioned Intercom, which is like a chat system. They're not very focused on pipeline production, right? So we use Intercom actually in our business for our chat system. It's a very robust, sophisticated system. I recommend anyone to use it if you haven't. It's a very good system, Intercom, right? And then you have Drift, MailChimp, MailJet. So MailChimp, MailJet, emailing softwares, Funnelbolt, like I said, is a follow-up automation specialized system, meaning that it's not essentially meant for like cold emailing, but for follow-up purposes, campaigning as nurturing and appointment setting and things like that. Funnelbolt is your system of choice for that. So we're very, Jordan, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, as far as pipeline is concerned, the way that we designed it was like, depending on where your clients or where the lead's at in the pipeline, you can send very specific messages and campaigns, and based on the actions that they take, you can move them automatically to the next part of your pipeline, the next sequence in your pipeline. So the communication just continues to roll. So is it a good option for email campaigns? If your domain reputation is good and the people have subscribed to your lead magnet or whatever, yeah, it's a good option. If you want to just blast cold email contacts from a list that you bought from Data Axle or something like that, like, no, you will severely damage your reputation and probably won't be able to send anything off of that account.
Caleb says he has 30K plus users registered into his site. 100%, Caleb. If you just integrate that list in the Funnelbolt, upload that as a CSV, you can create campaigns specific to the actions that they take, etc. One thing that Funnelbolt works really well for is reactivation campaigns. So if you're, having and talking to a client who says, yeah, I want more leads, right? Well, the next question is, well, do you have a list of people that you haven't been able to sell to? Or do you have a list of people that haven't bought from you in at least 30 days that we can also connect with and potentially get some production out of that? Now, the way that we do it is we do that as as a bonus, essentially, in addition to lead gen. So lead gen happens, but we also ask for the list to throw in a reactivation campaign in there weekly to get the most production out of it. Because think about it, lead gen hybrided with their current list equals more appointments, right? More leads, more opportunities. So it works very well for that. And that's all SMS based. And that's as simple as sending out a text message campaign to people. Let's say it's a massage parlor and you have them as a client and they say, I have a list of 5,000 people that I haven't been able to sell to, I haven't sold to in a while, whatever. Take that list, as long as it has phone numbers, upload it to Funnelbolt, create a campaign, call it reactivation, and send a text message that says something like, hey, name, haven't heard from you in a while, just checking up on you. We're running an amazing special. Just wondering if you wanted me to save you one, let me know, reply back to this message, and we'll set you up. Right? Non-salesy, and the amount of production that comes from a list that hasn't been touched is absolutely insane. You know, at least the average is about a 1 or 2% conversion rate on a list that has just been sitting on the shelf. So meaning if they have a list of 1,000 people, you know, 1% of that is 10. So they should get 10 clients out of 1,000 people sitting on a list, or up to 20 because it's 1 or 2%, right? Caleb says, we release new content and like to promote big releases. Perfect. This would work great for that. Inside WordPress, actually, here's an example of an older content release. You posted it there. So getting the word out about new content is one of our priorities. Yeah, Caleb, this would work 100%. What you would do is, as long as you have that list uploaded, right? And Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong. Once you got that list uploaded, create the campaign under campaigns, you know, product launch, new product, whatever the name of it, title it something specific or relative to that campaign. And then you would assign that list to that campaign, which would trigger the launch of that campaign and add that list to that specific new promotion that you're trying to do.
Yeah, there's inside the software, there's a link to the training portal too that will kind of show you how to do a lot of that stuff. And a lot of the, we've actually added a lot of new features that I have not, I just haven't had the time to go through and add it to the training portal. Because the list is pretty extensive, the things that we've added even over the last month or so. So we are going to, very shortly, we're working on so many things right now. So as soon as I can, I'll get that training portal updated. That'll show you exactly how to do all that kind of stuff. So, but it's pretty easy to figure out too, I think. So
Caleb says, we make money through Minecraft server hosting referrals. And if someone joins our community server and donates. Yeah, so whatever your angle is, Caleb, you know, as long as, like I said, and it sounds like they have opted in one shape or form into your ecosystem, then you have all rights to reach out to them and promote whatever it is that you're promoting, considering that you had a terms of service, or, you know, when they submitted their info, which you have to have that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're going to be sending over your SMTP as well. So like that's something like, that's why we've got, like, you can integrate with Mailgun or with SendGrid, or like whatever you want to use, plug in your SMTP to that, and then plug in your Mailgun account. If you've got 30,000 subscribers, Mailgun's probably going to be a better solution, just to be honest. So Twilio is needed for SMS follow.
So Twilio is needed for SMS, guys, and SendGrid or Mailgun. So it's just two companies who do the same thing, right, for emails. So,
but that's not necessarily true for email. Email, you can plug in any SMTP. It doesn't have to be Mailgun or SendGrid. If you have the
same type of company.
Yes, right. So Twilio, I mean, for now, we've looked at other providers, but it is really hard to find someone that has like the integration capability that Twilio does. Like they make it very easy, like on our side. Yeah, G Suite works. They make it easy for us to integrate, so you can also send MMS as well. And the pricing, yes, we're aware that there are some cheaper options, especially internationally, but as far as the reputation goes too, like Twilio's delivery is like above anyone else's. So
here's some value that I want to add to you guys as far as how to price your stuff. Like, so we in Funnelbolt focus on like the pay per lead model, pay per transfer model, because it's just more productive. You can make more out of it. But what I wanted to mention is that with this model, right, what you want to do is just figure out what your costs are. And I'll tell you what we allocate per lead. We only allocate about $1 per lead to cover our SMS and our voice costs. Does that make sense? So for example, if you're generating a lead, it costs you $6 to generate it off of Facebook. Then let's say you're selling pay per lead, right? You're wanting to take that cost, add it to your CRM costs, which might be $1, which is Funnelbolt. You're considering your Twilio and SMS costs, right? Add $1 there. If you have any other things that you're paying for, right? Allocate whatever amount that is to that lead, and then figure out what you want to make profit per lead, and then add a little bit more margin to that, because if you have a sales team, then you still want to make what you want to make, but add a little bit more for a sales team. That's what you sell your lead cost for. Typically, you should sell your lead cost for 20% of their CPA. Does that all make sense? CPA is cost per acquisition. So for example, if you ask your client, hey client, like on average, what do you pay to earn a customer? Like what do you pay to get a new customer? If they say, $300, then the price per lead that you're selling your leads for should be at least 20% of that, right? So what is that? What's that number of out of 300? What's 20% of 300? $60 per lead. Meaning if they just close on the industry average of 20%, meaning 1 out of 5, they're going to get a sale and they're going to meet their CPA and they're going to pay you again. You see what I'm saying? Because it all comes down to numbers. So that's just kind of giving you guys an insight on how we basically add costs to our total cost per lead, and then we sell it, and all of those things are paid for by the client, and we just make a margin on that. What do we have here? Jordan is going in the chats.
We had a question about how to do an activation campaign. So
it's a reactivation campaign. Reactivation. Do you have insert special tags to an active contact so you can start a new campaign with that tag?
Does that make sense what I put in there? Or do you want me to show you kind of how it works?
No, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay.
You guys are talking about insert a list from a customer, from a client. But now I can see how you do it within Funnelbolt itself.
Yeah. So basically, you create the list first, so there's a reference. Then you can upload that CSV or whatever, and then you assign the custom fields to whatever you want. Assign it to the list, have it upload. Now you've got all your contacts in Funnelbolt assigned to a list plus a tag if you want it. And then you go to your drip campaign, pick the list that you want it to fire to, pick the campaign that you want it to fire, select the time, and you're good to go. So that can be email or text.
I would say I would also number the reactivation campaign. So if it's the first time you're running it, call it like reactivation 1 and have that as a tag so that you know that that person has already been hit up on a reactivation campaign that first run around. So you should not be communicating with that one person with that tag for at least 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also want to keep in mind, like the way that our system is built, you can have it fire like a campaign, you can have it send a text you have it sent as many times as you want per day, right? So if you have a follow-up, so if it's like you get an email today, you have it sent an email today, have it sent an email like 3 days from now or something like that, which, you know, do whatever you want. Just remember, as you're sending the next one, if you still have some in sequence, you're basically doubling up on what you're sending per day, if that makes sense. So just be mindful of like, okay, I've got, you know, this one campaign is going to fire, you know, it's going to send 5 emails over the next 10 days. Don't start another one, you know, that's going to double up on that. So it makes sense if you think about it, but I've done it where I'm going through, I'm like, crap, I didn't realize I already have this one fired. So
Yeah, it really comes down to, with all these automations, guys, you have to be extremely organized, like extremely organized. Like that's the thing about automating things. It's like people want to automate everything so they don't have to do anything, but then they automate themselves out of the sale because it's like the people are like, dude, you've texted me like 14 times in the last 5 minutes. Stop contacting me ever again. Like, get the heck out of my life, dude. You're just, you know, and it's not your fault. It could be a trigger. It could be you went crazy all night, like, you know, you didn't sleep and you went crazy on automations and fired off the next day and bam, it went crazy. So just be very organized, just like in ads. If you're running ads, title everything like to the T so you know exactly what everything is, and nothing kind of crosses wires, you know.
yeah, when you build out 30 to 50 campaigns, you're going to lose track of what anything is unless you name it like send on this, send at this trigger, send at this time, send at this time. Then whenever you're going in and creating those reactivation campaigns or drip campaigns or auto response, it's like, okay, well, at this point, I need this to happen. And you go through your list and it's like, oh, send when this happens. Okay, cool.
Now, here's one thing to add, guys. This is the thing about the industry thing. Again, if you pick one niche, you just knock this out all in one day, like build the perfect Funnelbolt automation like account, right? For the industry that you're in. So like when a new lead gets generated, what happens? Build all that out. The next stage, build all that out, right? The next stage, build all that out, right? Build the perfect profile, automation profile in your Funnelbolt account, including adding your reactivation campaigns in there, everything, build it perfectly, your master account. And then any new client you get, you just duplicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
don't overwork it. Don't kill yourself over doing this, because that's a lot of work if you have to start over every single time. Like,
yeah. And that's another feature that we just added to our system because we were experiencing the problem. So we know exactly what happens for every one of our clients. And when we add a new client, all we do is duplicate. So we duplicate, add their contact information, and it's done. So it took us weeks to build out, you know, a successful campaign for X niche. Why would I have to build that out, you know, every single time? So you just duplicate it, add the contact. I mean, it literally saves.
It all comes down to time
hours.
is money. Time is money. You know, time is our most valuable asset. And what people don't realize is like, oh, I'm not paying, you know, anybody to do all this work or any of this, but what you are paying is time. So you are paying. So it's like, what are you talking about? It's like you just spent an entire day with one client. You made nothing at, like, you did pay. You paid an entire day that you're never going to get back. So you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to understand your time and like you only have a certain amount of time per day. Use it wisely. Use it at the best. Use your time at the best. You want to focus all your time with your RGAs, right? Your revenue generating activities. You want to get the most output out of the time that you allocate, right? Up until you're removed completely from the business, then you can start to mess around and throw things in there that you didn't do before. Play golf if you want. But that's after you put in the work. You see, so you want to go in there knowing that you're building a business, starting with the end in mind, building the things at the best of your ability, because that's the other thing. You know, you tell yourself you're going to build an email campaign, and because it's like a tedious thing that no one likes to do, you keep procrastinating, and then when you finally do it, you do it half-ass. Even though you tell yourself that you're going to do this at your best of your ability, and you don't. And you don't get the result from it because you're just not. And what the problem is that if you just did your best on that thing and you made a really good, whatever it is, landing page, email account, SMS sequence, automation, whatever that is, the production out of that should reflect the amount of invested energy you put into it. And if you just do this one time the right way and freaking hit this thing out of the park and become the best, you don't have to think about it anymore. You just duplicate it. You see? So anything that you do your best. Okay. And the other problem is that most people have is that they focus on way too many things at one time and get nothing done. Every single day, drop 3 things on a notepad that you are committed to that you're committed to do that's going to equal to production. Okay. So those 3 things on that item that you finished today, what kind of production did you get out of that? Right? If they didn't equal production, then you're focusing on the wrong things and you're busy doing the wrong things. So daily, right? Before you go to sleep, if you want, email yourself or have a journal next to your bed because you want to download your brain before the next day. Drop down on that list the top 3 things that are going to contribute to production that you're committed to do no matter what the next day. Don't put it on that list if you're not committed to do it, because then that's self-accountability and you don't even have your own self-accountability. And so how do you expect to actually build a business if you say one thing, but you don't do it? You see? So this is a self-accountability play. This is more about you than anybody else. And this is what's going to allow you to scale, elevate, and do more stuff in a week than what most people do in 3 to 6 months. Be intentional. And at the end of the day, you should look back at the day and tell yourself, okay, well, things I did today equal to this much production, right? So for me, this morning, I already had my sales team meeting, right? And that sales team meeting, it was an hour of my time. I allocated to them to help them get better and processes and thought processes and questions and things to get them confident back on the floor to sell. So I know that I allocated an hour of my time that, even though I didn't physically make money from it, I know equals more production from my sales team. You see? So things like that is what I'm talking about. You need to focus on a day-to-day. If you finish your day and you ask yourself, what production did I get today? And you have trouble answering that question, you got some work to do. You got to figure out what you are actually allocating your time on and eliminate everything that doesn't contribute to production and focus on those 3 tasks day to day. And those 3 things are going to change every day. I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing. It's just those 3 things that you do today will contribute to production today, then the next day, and the next day, so on and so forth. Next thing you know, you look back and you're like, holy shit, look at my business now, right? Because now you're intentional versus reactive to like the hell life brings every day. So I just wanted to give you guys some light on that, because that was truly one of the biggest pivot points for me in my business, was understanding how to be intentional versus just waking up and being like, all right, let me sit in front of my computer and pretend I'm working, you know? And that's what most people do, believe it or not. So Caleb says, sent you a message on Facebook. Thanks for the info. Got to run. Excited to check it out. Awesome. What's going on, Rick? Nice to have you. We're 4 minutes before ending our call, Rick. So if you have any questions, you're in the hot seat. And if you don't have any questions, that's cool.
Hey, Jordan. Sorry I joined you guys so late. How are you?
No problem. What's up, Rick?
Hey, so I'm just getting started with using Funnelbolt, and I've got a few clients that are direct into a CRM system. So I asked you that question offline in the chat box using the Funnelbolt chat, and I got a couple answers from you, but I'm still having to put them right into a CRM. And from my perspective, since we're handing them to the client directly and giving them to their own sales team, from my perspective, it's out of my hands at that point. So I want to continue to nurture the client, even though we've already handed them to the client in their CRM. And I'm just wondering if you guys have any ideas as far as the nurturing process. And I did talk to one of the people that manages all the milestones inside their pipeline. In this case, we're dealing with a roofing company that uses a system called AccuLinks, if you're familiar with that system. And they explained all the parts of their milestones and how we could possibly continue to kind of work with them through all parts of their pipeline.
Yeah, so if you, I could jump in real quick just to add, and then Jordan, go ahead. Real quick, just if you have access to their CRM, it can be as easy as at the milestone, create a tag and a trigger that drops them back into your account in Funnelbolt. So then it activates. So if, let's say in their system AccuLinks, they change the milestone to like pending or something, I don't know. And that needs to trigger some type of automation or some type of engagement via text, email, or voice or whatever. Create a tag. Once that milestone is hit, tag happens, which when that tag happens, it triggers a campaign to activate in Funnelbolt, right? So you add the tag, and then inside of Funnelbolt, you say anyone with this tag that comes into Funnelbolt, trigger this campaign. And so when that lead gets moved into, let's say, pending status, that tag gets added, then you push that lead back into your Funnelbolt account, which would then trigger the campaign that you set up that gets triggered on a keyword, on a tag, bam, and automatically whatever campaign you set up for that tag will trigger for that pipeline autopilot.
I understand. I guess one of the things that I'm having trouble reconciling is that they have their own sales staff. And at what point do I maybe invite them by adding a user to Funnelbolt to have the sales staff work with Funnelbolt directly? Or should I leave it transparent to them and just say, well, I'm going to be sending them text messages or emails in a campaign when they hit these milestones, just to let you know what's going on? Like, should I involve them as salespeople to give them the login? Or should I just say, this is what's going to be happening on from the marketing perspective of automatic text messages, automatic emails, automatic voice messages? Should I just let them know what's happening, or should I actually give them a login to Funnelbolt?
So this is contingent on you caring that your that company's sales team is involved in your campaign, meaning if anything happens based on their actions, they're blaming you for it.
Right.
Makes sense. So if you're okay with that, and you're okay involving them in your process, because to be honest, Rick, you don't need them all the way up until like there's someone who wants a quote. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the automations should serve as the system that allows you to be the vehicle autopilot that takes you to the appointment.
Right. So at that point, it's out of my hands.
All automated. For sure, it's out of your hands.
Okay, that's the main question then, because once I've collected their lead and I put them into the CRM, I'm just going to leave it alone.
Yeah. So your role as a lead gen, is that you do lead gen, right?
Yep.
Okay. Your role is to generate someone who's raising their hand, okay, that wants to speak to your roofer. Okay. Everything besides that, you're not a roofing contractor. You're not jumping on the roof. You're not suggesting what shingles to use. You're not suggesting what tar to use or whatever. Okay. But your role is simply, if it consists also pre-qualifying the customer, that's a different story. You have to involve a little bit more systems on your end, whether it's a call center or more automations if you're trying to pre-qualify the lead before sending it to the roofer. But if you're not doing that, then your role is simply just to get that appointment scheduled for a quote on the roofer's calendar. Now,
depends on what you sold them.
Exactly. That's the thing. So you have, it's different. It varies across the board. Like Jordan said, like in our business, we do everything in our power, okay, to avoid a human error. Right? Because the problem is that, like I said to, I think it was Michael, I think, or Xavier, like if you put your success on the client's shoulders, you know how easy it is for them to blame you for the result?
Yeah, I don't want that.
You want to get out of that.
How many roofing clients do you have right now?
There was just a couple, but now we're just down to the one roofing client.
How big is the company?
The company is probably, I want to say a few dozen people.
So they doing like 5 million, 3 million, 5 million?
They're upwards to a few million a year, yes. I'm not sure of their exact revenue though.
Do they have people on the phone all the time calling these leads
I believe so, yes.
and setting appointments?
Yep.
Okay. And did you just start working for them?
No, I've actually been an on and off vendor for them. And basically I was running a few Facebook and Google Ads campaigns for them, and they wanted to move their marketing in-house and cut me out of the picture. And now since their game plan failed and they weren't getting any leads, they decided to involve me again because I got them leads. So coming back into the fold, I wanted to show them, look what I have now. I have an actual funnel system and some automation that we can apply towards your business and maybe ramp it up.
Okay.
From where we were before.
So here's what I would do. Take it or leave it.
Okay.
You can very easily with AccuLinks. I'm very familiar with that CRM. I know it inside and out. You can set up triggers in AccuLinks, just like Angel said, to where, you know, if they want to manage AccuLinks and where the customers are at in their pipeline, fine. You can set up triggers in Zapier to where when they move people, it'll trigger certain campaigns within Funnelbolt.
Right, there'll be webhook triggers, yes?
Yeah, and that's going to help them by default. And if I know roofers, which I think I do, they're going to do just about everything they can to cut you out and not pay you. So unless if you want to turn them on to Funnelbolt, we would be happy with that because they're going to be paying us. But when they start paying us, they're not going to pay you. So,
right.
So
thanks for being so transparent, Jordan.
I've been in the roofing industry for way too long.
Oh yeah.
And I'm tired of these guys, to be honest.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this and you're a roofer, like, go generate your own leads.
This is the third business that I've built roofing wise up to a point where they felt they wanted to hire their own marketing people. So I'm tired of them too, but this company is paying me a big sum of money in a recurring monthly fee. And I want to make sure I do them a solid. And also I've been friends with the owner of this particular roofing company for a few years now. So definitely want to continue to support them.
What I would do is I would build your system, your ecosystem in Funnelbolt, and I would have them give you admin permission to AccuLinks so that you can webhook that stuff in there. And what I would also do is set up a trigger in like Slack or something like that to where they get alerted that one of their leads has been rescued because of your ecosystem that is set up. So they know that the only reason you scheduled this appointment, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 18 months after the lead was generated was because your system in the background is what's working and they don't have access to it and they don't know how it works. That's what I would do. Because as soon as they want like a peek under the hood, you're done.
Yeah, so I keep everything under your sophisticated system, and you're basically setting them up on it, but you're managing it. And so the idea is like Jordan said, is keep things under your hood, because trust me, roofers, they're a very fun niche. I'll tell you that. So I've gotten to a point where I meet them at where they're at and I start serving them a bunch of humble pie, and that's how I close them, because they just need it sometimes. But the idea is that if they know what you're doing, they know your golden nugget, then there's no point of paying your high invoice that you're betting on.
Right. So that might actually work to my benefit now that you say it. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, which I'm going to explain all the bells and whistles of the marketing program. which are outside of Funnelbolt. In some cases, we're not running leads. We're doing backlinking campaigns. We're doing content creation, all that stuff.
Like SEO.
And SEO. They're actually having another company rebuild their website, which is out of my hands, but I still have some part in it. But I'm looking at their AccuLinks, leads and jobs, and they have a couple of milestones that I'm really interested in now that you said that. They have one milestone that's listed as canceled. And there are almost 2,000 contacts within that canceled section. So I wonder if I could talk them into maybe exporting that list and uploading that into a contact list and starting a email drip campaign for those particular people.
Yeah, so we talk about that all the time. You can come into a business and be the specialist that helps them get more production out of their pipeline. That's it. You don't even have to generate any leads. Like you said, if he has lists, you can be the guy that they pay monthly that helps them get the production out of their list. And you don't even have to touch the leads. Let them keep doing what they're doing to generate the leads and build the list, and just come in as on a reoccurring basis to provide this production system on the back end that you'll manage and set up and do all that yourself and go in there and modify and change and tweak or whatever. They don't have to do anything besides give you admin access to the AccuLinks. You're going to set it all up, right? And they're going to pay you monthly to maintain that and make sure everything is good. All the things are firing. Nothing needs to be changed. If they run another promotion, they can mention it to you and you can just plug that thing in there and you do it. So that way, like Jordan said, there's no, you're holding on to all your assets. There's nothing that they can take from you. So if they discontinue, guess what? Also discontinues the production in their pipeline.
Right.
You see, and just like they came back to you again, they came back to you because you didn't give them the secret sauce. These clients are very smart. What they do is they hire you for a month or two, and then they say to you, hey, you know what? Let's negotiate here. Let's work out a deal, right? Let's do this thing. What if I paid you to consult us to do the thing that I've been paying you $2,000 for to do per month, but I'm only willing to pay like $3,000. It's like, do you think I'm retarded? It's like, why would I teach you the thing you're paying me $2,000 for that you're getting results with, that you're now asking me to consult you on so you can go ahead and do it yourself? Unless you pay me 10 times what you paid me monthly and you pay me $10,000 right now or $20,000 right now, I'm not teaching you my systems, because that's my business. I'd be literally giving you my business on a silver platter and I'd be left with nothing. The hell am I going to collect from you knowing my entire business model? So you can go and sell my system to other people, you see? So this is your business. This is what you specialize in. You have to educate them on, hey, this is what I do for a living. This is how I pay my bills. You pay your bills by putting shingles on a roof. Let's focus on what we do and you focus on what you do. And together we make a lot of money, but don't expect them to make the same production that you can do because you specialize in this and you're taking trainings like this and you're constantly investing into yourself, getting better and better and better. They're not going to match you at your level of skill set. You see what I'm saying? So the amount of production that you can do versus what they can do is night and day, because every client tells themselves that they can do the thing that you're doing better than you can. It's like, okay, buddy, then why the hell are we on a call?
Exactly.
I've gotten to a point, Rick, where I'm so good at serving humble pie when I need to, that they're just like, they laugh.
Roofers need it all the time.
They need humble pie more than they need lunch, because they are very good. They just don't care. Okay. Roofers are just ruthless. That's the thing. They just don't care. And they'll freaking curse you out, hang up on you, spit on the, spit through the phone at you. Like, because that's their that's like the demographics of the industry. You'll find 1 out of 10 roofers that are like the ideal client. That's like the one that you like working with. And that's rare, to find. And so I don't want to be involved in an industry like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the niche that you're in and the way it sounds like their business is set up, like that range, like the $3 to like $5 million range is where it is kind of the sweet spot for someone like you, because after So a roofing business breaks at 500,000, then it breaks at $1 million, then it breaks at 3 million, then it breaks at 5 million. So the window between like $1 and $5 million is where a marketer or someone that can add any value, being a contract into the business, can thrive. After 5 million, they're going to replace you, I promise.
Right.
Especially when they hit 10. And like we've done, like you talk about consulting and stuff, like I mean, I've consulted projects that are in the tens of millions, and they will find a way to pull the rug. That's just how they are.
You know what's crazy about
So-
this? It's like they have so much cash, like Jordan's saying, that it's not like they replace Rick because, you know, they just have so much cash to just spend that it just becomes like, we've been paying you, Rick, for a really long time. Like, we just want to bring this in-house, and they'll allocate 10 times what they used to pay you, Rick, to try to build a team in-house. And they'll blow a ton of money because at that level of a company, right, they have a budget of, let's say, you know, 30 grand a month that they need to spend on ads or marketing, period, right? And so they don't care how they spend it. They just need to spend it because, you know, that's their budget allocated to grow their business. So whether it's direct mail or flyer or a guy flipping a sign or whatever it is, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to just try a bunch of stuff because they have the power to, and they have to spend the money. And as long as they can say, oh, it's in-house, that money spent that was blown was spent in a good way to learn or test. And here's Rick, where they could have gotten 10 times the result if they would have just stuck with them. But they're hard-headed. They learn that's the hard way, you know, that's how they learn the lesson. And then Rick gets back involved. But at that point, it's 10 times harder to get in because you have now a series of people you have to get through to actually approve you as a trusted vendor. Because at that point, at a $5 million plus, you're now considered not an agency, a vendor.
Right.
And a vendor is treated differently than an agency. Once you're a vendor and you're not only a vendor, an approved vendor for a company, now you're sending invoices that they're not even blinking at, they pay, and you're on to the next month. You see, it's a whole nother ballgame.
And you can beef up your number of clients.
Oh yeah, dude, you can
Just
charge
your
freaking 5 times what you were charging.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what made agencies.
And
Yeah.
I always,
They can afford it.
one of the, I don't know, ethical boundaries that I've set for myself is that I'll never be a marketer for the same type of niche in the same local area.
Okay.
Because then I have to have people compete against themselves, and I'm doing that both
Conflict of
in
interest.
marketing. Yeah. So I try to set that boundary for myself wherever I can. But I'm in this position right now where I can keep a good client for a while, and up until that $5 million breaking point that Jordan mentioned. And I definitely don't want to be someone that they can discard, for sure.
One thing to add here, Rick, that I don't want you to do is to focus all your energy on this one client. Because
yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
month passes and this is the only thing you've been doing for an entire month, you won't be able to answer the question like, what did I do this week or this month that contributed to my production?
Right.
Because you serving the same client, the same, like, and allocating hours on end, you're really investing more time than they paid for.
That's true.
And we don't have that much time, man. You know, everyone has a certain amount of time per day. So
That's right.
just make sure that whatever you do, that aside from, you know, figuring this thing out for this client, either you do it or put a team in place to do this for you, get more production daily, contact new roofers daily about what you do, whether you close them or not, fill up your pipeline. So you feel good in the week. Like, you know, if this doesn't work out with this guy, shit, I got like 10 others on the freaking pipeline right now that are ready to buy from me or considering to buy from me, I would say.
Yeah, because what'll happen, I don't know where you live, Rick, especially with roofers, they'll have a storm hit tomorrow and then they'll be like, yeah,
Well, we can't pay you anymore.
I'm in the place for storms.
Yeah.
I'm in sunny Tampa, Florida.
oh, nice.
Hurricanes. That's
Yeah,
where I live.
hurricane capital.
That's
Yeah,
where I
it's
live before I live now in the mountains, man. 28 years in freaking Florida. Now I live in the mountains where we deal with blizzards versus
Oh,
hurricanes.
you got to miss a little bit, don't you, Angel?
I don't know, man. I'm literally staring at mountains with snow caps on them. So like, I don't know how much I miss staring at an ant pile, but that's what you have in Florida.
Just
so
make sure you bundle up over there. They're okay.
well, right now it's really hot. It's like 100 degrees daily, like 110. So
Oh wow.
and then the other
there's
thing,
snow on the mountains.
yeah. Well, the other thing too, the mountains are like,
Yeah, those are way high up there.
yeah, dude, they're freaking massive. But also elevation here is 6K. So when it's hot, say 70 degrees, it feels like 80 because we're higher up. When it's cold, say it's 30 degrees, it feels like 20 because we're higher up. Plus there's no humidity. So unlike Florida, when it's hot, it's humid as well. And it makes it feel muggy. And like here it's hot and it's just hot, so it's been a heck of a transition, but I honestly enjoy it because we also have all 4 seasons. So I saw fall for the first time. I saw the red, the yellow.
I have yet to see snow for the first time, so
oh my
I'm
goodness!
lacking on my. And Jordan's shaking his head like you don't need to see snow.
You're not missing anything.
That's what people would say to me, but just to be able to walk around that a little bit and.
Well, unless you snowboard, right?
This is about.
Yeah, well, I come out here to snowboard, right? It's a big thing for me. Snowboard and golf are my hobbies. Okay. For me, everyone's different, right? Everyone has their hobbies, their things. Some people like the beach, some people like the water, the cold. Jordan likes horses and barns and hay, you see. So everyone has their things, it just is what it is. And so I moved to where I vacation. Because I believe
that makes sense. Yeah.
You can build your life by design, and that's exactly what I do. And so I kind of like set that as an example for others. It's like, if you want to move freaking 29 hours away from where you live, just do it. Just fucking do it. Stop asking people's permission. I don't have to ask Jordan, hey, Jordan, I want to move to China tomorrow. I'm not going to ask him. I'm just going to do it. Next thing you know, I'm in freaking, in a hut or something, doing this exact call. So it's like, do what you want so that you can feel like what you're doing daily is fulfilling you. Like,
just make sure your hut has Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Well, a couple of questions while I have you. And first of all, thank you for being so accessible as some of the people that are the founders of Funnelbolt program. My trade since I was a little kid, well, I was making money at 5, but I started writing code at 5, and I could have built the Funnelbolt program with enough time, but I talked to Jordan about this. There's the landing page builder, and it's a little quirky, and I was wondering if there was going to be any further development on changing that whole engine to make it a little bit different, a little bit more like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but sometimes it's a little bit clunky.
Yeah, the landing page builder, how do I want to say this? It works for what we need it to work for, which is like lead capture. Are there some issues with it? Yeah. You pull in sections, and as long as you keep the sections where they're at, they work fine. If you know coding, you can code them however you want. It is a little, because we've added so many things to the main system, there are some pieces that cause it to glitch and whatnot. We do have another builder that is like sitting on the shelf. It's probably 90% done. Are we going to release it? When are we going to release it? Like, I don't know. The idea behind that was basically like, we've got a landing page builder, but if you want like full on SEO ready websites, so we have that. I've seen it. I've worked in it. There's a few things that we're trying to kind of pull in and add, and like scheduling appointments is one of those things that we want to add to that. But to compensate for our buggy landing page builder, We have the form builder, which is, we labeled it like funnel hopper, which I don't know how long we're going to do that,
Yes,
or why
I
we
looked
even
at
named
that.
it that.
I looked
What's
at
that?
that and I was confused about what the Funnelbolt, that form builder was in relation to the landing page builder.
Yeah, so that form builder, you can place forms on any website. So whether it's WordPress, whatever system you're using, like, it doesn't matter, as long as you have access to the header code. All you have to do, you create your forms, and it can be a simple, like, one question form, or you can build out an entire qualification sequence where it's like, hey, are you looking to sell your home? What's your credit score? Blah, blah, blah. And based on how they answer, you can send them different campaigns.
Is
So
that integration iframe embed, or is it something else?
no, it's not iframe embed.
That's
It
good.
is, it's a form. So it has, right now we have two options. One is I think they call it a model or a modal form that'll
Mhm.
show up in the middle of the screen after,
Yep.
you can select after so many seconds or on scroll or whatever, or you can have a sticky form, which will go down bottom right. Like if you have a blog or something, it'll just stay there. And if somebody wants to enter whatever, they can do that. But as long as you have access to the header code, you just install it in the header, and the script will run, and it'll pull that contact information into Funnelbolt,
Okay.
and execute whatever campaigns you decide. And it's literally like limitless in the amount of qualifications and the amount of campaigns that you could execute with one form. So
Okay.
that we built that to compensate for the landing page builder being glitchy, and also at the same time, like because we have clients that have websites, and it's like, well, I don't want a landing page, I just want to stick a form on my site. Okay, well, we can do that. So if you have WordPress or whatever you're using, you can use our forms and get the contact information into our system. What is coming is going to be a different builder and all that kind of stuff. We also have another thing that's going to be coming, but it's not going to be associated with Funnelbolt at all, that we're working on.
Okay.
So Zach's a developer, and Zach does like 8 different things at once, and then like all of a sudden we have all these things done at once. And we ran into a few issues with the new builder, just in the customization or whatever. And so we kind of put it on the shelf. We're going to develop a few other things, and then we'll plug those into what we have. So that's kind of how it works, if that makes sense. So that's a long answer to your short question, but that's
Okay, no, I
being
appreciate it.
completely
I
upfront.
appreciate it. The more verbose, the better. And I'll be further transparent with you and let you know about a competitor of yours that had a product on AppSumo that I purchased right before I purchased Funnelbolt. Their company name is Funnel Joy. And
Oh yeah, heard about that.
and they couldn't use the AppSumo codes to even get me a complete lifetime package, and their support was lacking in the biggest way. And I just refunded and went with you guys instead. You guys were a little bit more pricey, but the functionality was there. One of the things though that they had that I was surprised that you didn't out of the box is the ability to start with a Zapier trigger without using webhooks, because webhooks is a part of the premium Zapier package. If you don't want to buy that or have that, then you're stuck. And that was one of the functionalities that they had out of the box is I can plug a trigger in from their program directly into whatever you want to plug into. So any plans for that to be beefed up and made a trigger without using a complicated thing for people like webhooks?
Yeah, so where we're at with that is we've added so many new features to Funnelbolt in the last 2-3 months that Zapier was just kind of like sitting here. And you'll notice too with our Zapier app, like it's not even an approved app in Zapier yet. You have to be invited. The plan is we're going to get everything done, finish the Zapier app, put it in the system, put it as an approved app in the system. We also have an integration app with Pabbly Connect, which is not as seasoned as Zapier. But once we get everything finished, and we're very close to being there, we're going to go through all these integration apps and have our dev team just focus on creating those apps. Because with most of those apps, it's like you either have to get in line where they build it for you, and it's like it could be done in 6 months, or you have to dedicate your resources to building it and doing it, and then they approve it, and then it's available on their system. And we've had our team working on so many different things that like Zap, it's just kind of sitting there. It hasn't been prioritized because we're not completely done with the product. So as soon as we're done, then we'll go in and say, okay, do everything.
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, so squeak, squeak, or Jordan.
Yeah. So, and you're not the first person that has asked about that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be great to see that before the end of Q3. I won't be hounding you to get it finished, of course, but I appreciate having the functionality of Funnelbolt in its current state. And I'm excited to talk to these people tomorrow and let them know what is involved in my process without saying the name Funnelbolt. And I use various software suites to make the process go, but Funnelbolt is a welcome addition to my suite.
mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Job well done.
For sure.
Great to have
For
you,
sure.
man.
Yeah, we're glad to have you too. So, well, we're a half hour over.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for taking the time once again.
Yeah,
No
no problem. No problem. Anytime. We do this every Wednesday at
Gotcha.
1:30 Eastern. So,
Okay.
if you're watching this later and you want to join us, watch for a link. So, and get into the Facebook group. I don't know if you guys are all in the Facebook group, but please get in there. It's just easier for us to communicate in there than it is for me to send a blast email to everybody. So,
All right. Well, you guys have a great day then.
Likewise.
Hey,
Take it
thanks,
easy, guys. See you guys next week.
all right, guys.
See ya.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Yep.